Thank you, Christina. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for coming along. I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry for about 25 years now, and I'm really passionate about advancing digital transformation in this industry. My work covers topics like, of course, digital twin and AI that I'll be talking about today, but also simulation and everything around data. You'll be aware already of a number of trends that are influencing today's pharmaceutical industry. They include the demand for new therapies in the market and the demand to get those to patients as fast as we possibly can. The need to balance that priority with reducing the environmental impact of the pharmaceutical industry. And we know that it's, in CO2 terms, one of the greatest emitters in the industry today. And also reducing costs so that we can improve things like access to medications and health equity overall. Digitalization, of course, offers solutions to these problems, but customers do struggle with implementing these solutions on a holistic level and with an end-to-end strategy. Instead of the challenges that are facing the pharmaceutical industry, I want you to imagine instead a world where every drug, from discovery to patient, is precisely traced, modeled, and optimized. This is the realm of AI and digital twins, where we have connected virtual replicas of molecules, drugs, processes, and even of entire plants. Digital twins and AI are transforming every aspect of the drug life cycle. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore the power of combining AI and digital twin to bring high-quality drugs to our patients faster. If you haven't had a conversation recently about AI, then you may have been hiding on a deserted island. The basic principles of AI were developed over 50 years ago. Siemens was an early pioneer in AI at that time, working on linguistic data processing already in the 1970s. The reason that AI has been fueled recently is the better access to data. Through better computing power and through better digitalization systems, we have greater access to the really large training data sets that are needed to make advances in this area. Stanford University produces a report every year, and the latest report shows that industry rather than academia is fueling the way and leading the way in research in this area. It also shows that AI can now outperform a PhD student, even when that PhD student has internet access. Who here would like to take on that challenge? Okay. Not many. Not many. Digital twins, on the other hand, are virtual personalized representations of physical entities. As they're connected to the real entity, they not only look and behave like their physical counterpart, they also mirror and collect data in real time about what is really happening. So they can be used to simulate what is happening, and they can simulate what would happen if the parameters of the system were to be changed. In the pharmaceutical industry, they're used throughout the drug life cycle to model biological systems, drug molecules, processes, and even the entire plant. So when we put that all together, we see that the availability of data has led to growth for AI. We see these magic digital twins that provide live, accurate, high-quality, real-world data, which AI can use to learn and predict. So much more than historical data sets or static data sets, the AI is now training on a live, real-world data set that it can use to learn and predict. Looping that back around, we can then use the digital twin to test the hypothesis that our AI has come up with before we deploy it. And we can use it even to deploy that output in the case of operational digital twins. This combination and this symbiotic relationship creates a continuous loop of optimization through the life cycle of your entity. Important to be aware of in the pharmaceutical industry, of course, is what the regulators think. It's good to know that the FDA recognizes and really recognizes the potential for AI to enhance drug development and manufacturing in many ways. They see it as improving access to safe, effective, and faster drugs, providing broader access, improving quality, improving drug safety, and allowing us to develop novel drugs and drug classes and even personalized medicines. The FDA have also told us that in 2022, more than 100 drug and biological submissions used AI and ML components. That being the case, this is no longer a choice. This is something that we really must do to keep up with what the rest of the industry is doing. Let's explore some of the ways that AI and digital twin can be used through the drug life cycle. The big focus of the pharmaceutical industry today is in the area of R&D rather than necessarily in the manufacturing. In that area, drug discovery is the most exciting area of all, particularly in terms of artificial intelligence. Drug discovery, however, is really challenging. Experts in the area have compared it to finding a needle in a haystack. The drug discovery process often begins not in a laboratory, but at a desk, exploring vast complex data sets from existing research, publications, patents, and other sources to identify targets. Finding useful insights from this data in these formats is difficult, it's extremely inefficient, and it's probably not the best use of your very qualified scientist's time. Instead, we can use AI to mine this data, identify new or repurposed drug candidates in a fraction of the time. An example of this is during the COVID-19 pandemic, a pharmaceutical company used this approach to identify an existing drug that could be used to treat COVID patients and discovered it in just 48 hours. Because the drug was already on the market, that drug was rapidly approved for reuse on patients of COVID-19. Only 1 in every 1,000 target molecules that we discover in our research process will make it through to the clinical trial stage of development. Screening that really large number of candidates for multiple characteristics will be almost impossible with manual approaches, and again comes with the challenge of time, speed, and what your scientists are spending their time and abilities on. Instead, Siemens and AI simulation tools can predict in silico how chemical compounds will behave. This avoids the need for expensive trial and error experiments, gives us huge efficiency, and gives us huge cost savings. Once we have targeted the best candidates to bring forward in our process, they can progress to non-clinical research, or what we call pharmacokinetic studies. The Siemens model-based environment combines models with real data to accelerate formulation design for the most stable and bioactive drug solutions. So that means how stable the drug will be when it sits on the shelf, having been manufactured, and also how it will perform in the body. How readily will it be absorbed? Is it going to cause any side effects? In this example, Siemens digital twins were used to understand the performance of an inhaler and its medicine. By scanning the mouth cavity and the lungs, scientists created 3D models to explore the best delivery device and dosage design for this medicine, rapidly accelerating progress to clinical trials. In this area, the FDA Modernization Act of 2022 authorized the use of certain alternatives to animal testing. So in the era of sustainability and our consideration of what we're doing to the planet, Allowing us to do as much of this work in silico as possible not just makes things faster, not just makes things better, it makes the whole approach more sustainable. So by taking these in silico approaches, customers can obtain an exemption from the FDA to investigate the safety and effectiveness of a drug in silico without animal testing. At this phase of drug development and R&D, from the drug discovery phase up to preclinical phase, through rapid data analysis, digital twin, and AI, we can achieve time and cost savings of up to 50% in this phase. And given that this is the area that most of our pharmaceutical companies are most concerned, that offers enormous potential for success. So we've come through drug discovery up to preclinical. We have a drug that we think we would like to make. So now we need a process or a recipe in order to do that. Our digital twin process modeling software allows us to design the entire end-to-end manufacturing process in silico. Flowsheet models of the unit operations can be rapidly assembled in a virtual process. They can be calibrated with real data from experiments or existing recipes, and they can allow process scientists to optimize the process for cost, for materials, and for energy usage. Siemens AI software allows us to move even faster in this activity by automating product and process development in an activity known as design space exploration. Here we have some software that can automatically run simulations. It can analyze the results and adjust the parameters for the next iteration. This approach was used in the first digital twin of a vaccine manufacturing process, which was for GSK vaccines, and you'll be able to see that on the pharmaceutical stand presented by my colleagues. This approach can be applied to a wide range of both digital twin and simulation solutions that are available again to see on our stall today. Where a digital twin might run 1,000 simulated experiments over time, it's usually possible to only run 1 or 2 physical experiments in that same time. So you can see what the time savings and the efficiency savings are in our race to get that drug to the patient. However, simulation does still use a lot of computing power, and however much time it takes is still time that's elapsed that we may not want. It's now possible to boost the simulation process with an AI simulation predictor. We take data from historical simulations and use them to support faster creation of high-performing designs and experiments. Doing this allows us to reduce the iterations needed at this phase by around 40%. And again, all of this is being done in silico without the need for material, for space, for equipment. So we thought we had done the really difficult bit by finding the drug, identifying the best one, bringing it through understanding of its composition and its actions. We built a recipe. Now what we need is equipment, we need a plant, and we need an automation system to make it. We can use the same principles that we've just looked at to fast track our design, our user training, and even our commissioning across the entire equipment, plant, and automation system. That can be for the reactor, where we use CFD and multiphysics to simulate the actions of equipment like reactors for single and multiple disciplines. This supports reactor design, and it also supports reactor scale-up from lab to commercial, which we know can be very difficult for biologics products in particular. One customer building their bioreactor achieved a 50% reduction in the scale-up time and saved $1 million in test materials by using CFD. We can apply this to our equipment. Here we have a customer who's used digital twin and AI to lower their engineering effort on a vial filling machine by 30%. Another used this approach to fast track the build of their equipment for a long lead piece of filling line. Because of the long lead time, the customer was under pressure to have this ready to go in the shortest time possible once it arrived at the plant. By doing this with a digital twin, they were able to train their users and begin their commissioning before the line was even built. Here we see a scan of a vial filling line again, and the before and after of the airflow through it. In this case, we were able to redesign the airflow to avoid contamination to the product during filling. And we can even bring this to the plant level. Here we see an entire filling line for a continuous direct compression made product at the Manufacturing Innovation Centre in Scotland. We can model here the layout, the operation, the throughput, and scenarios that may occur on the plant, and even the automation system with process simulation and virtual controllers. And of course, we can bring this into the operational plant. All of the digital twins that we've looked at, particularly in the manufacturing space, can be then deployed in the manufacturing space to continuously collect data about the piece of equipment, the bioreactor, the facility, the cleanliness and information from building management systems, so that we're constantly building up a picture of what is happening in the plant. That can be used then with AI to learn and to give feedback and new hypotheses and close the loop and ensure that everything is going the best way possible. We also have examples like Industrial Copilot, which was the first AI assistant for engineering in industry. Industrial Pilot allows you to generate code, give advice to your operators, and reduce workload by automating issue resolution in industrial automation. The generative AI approach has been applied to a number of our solutions, and you can again see these on our stand. There are challenges in this area. We must continue to break down data silos. Having data in disparate silos does not add value to our artificial intelligence learning. We must ensure the data is made available, and we must ensure that it's of good quality. If we move forward to using patient data, we must consider the privacy of that, and of course, the ethical considerations must be kept in mind at all times. The FDA recognises these challenges and has established an action plan to deal with it, committing to an ongoing strategy for managing data. But the opportunities that we have are enormous. In the future, we'll be able to build digital twins of patients to support personalised medicines. We'll be able to connect all of these multiple digital twins to give us better end-to-end insights. And we'll even be able to use GenAI to build the digital twins themselves. This is a new era of responsible pharmaceutical innovation, supported by Siemens across the entire drug life cycle, where the synergy of our AI and digital twins is accelerating the delivery of safe, effective drugs to patients. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. My colleagues and I are at the Pharmaceutical and Life Sciences Dialogue stations just down here at the end. Please do visit and find out how you can accelerate and win the race against time.